Hi, I'm Alex, welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. So in today's video we're going to be talking about Golden Nugget Online Gaming and the SPAC with Landcadia Holdings. Now this is my second recent video on the topic, but I've made loads of videos on this SPAC before. All of those are linked in the description below. However, this video is focused more on the recent financials and the impact that has on valuation and share price. If you're new to the channel and you like investor related content, then hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, please smash the like button. It's so helpful in pushing the channel to a wider audience and helping improve the like to dislike ratio which the channel currently has. If you've seen videos on this channel before, you know when we talk about stock, we always talk about everything to do with it, the positives and the negatives. We will always address the risks and understand whether there are any mitigants against those risks that make it a sensible investment for us. However, this often means that fanboys and bag holders often don't like this and we get a lot of dislikes. It's improved a lot lately, so thank you so much for everyone who is hitting the like button. And let's keep it up to make sure that we always have high quality investment videos on YouTube. This video is going to take a slightly different approach from my other videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the highlights up front and then I'm going to dive into my analysis. If you're not interested in the analysis and seeing how I've come to these conclusions, then feel free to skip that. However, for anyone that's interested, I'll give you the high level and then we'll go into the detail. There are a couple of things that are quite important that I do mention within the detail, but don't make sense if I mention them purely as a highlight. So if you are interested, you should stick around for those. Whilst I am an investor in my full-time job, I have tried to keep this analysis as simple and as high level as possible so that everyone can follow it and understand it. However, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll be delighted to explain it or help you understand it more. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is purely for education and entertainment purposes only. However, on this video, given the nature of what I'm going into and what I'm sharing, I think this is even more important than normal. I'm sharing my own personal analysis here, and the outputs of that are all dependent on the accuracy of the information I put into this model and the assumptions I've made. Before you make any investment, make sure you've always done your own due diligence and you've always run your own analysis. Never rely solely from what you hear of people online. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So this week in a press release, Golden Nugget announced their Q3 financials. Now, if you've seen them, there's a lot of positives to take from those. Firstly, gross gaming revenues for Q3 were reported at $28.9 million. That represents a 93% growth on the same Q3 19 figure. It reported net gaming revenues of $25.9 million, which was 92% growth on the Q3 period for 2019. Now, we should take a lot of confidence in the fact that the margin between net and gross gaming revenues has not grown a lot during this period of time. What this ultimately means is that they've grown without having to give gamblers and players better win ratios. That's positive number one. They also reported operating income of $8.2 million, again, which grew 92% on the Q3 figure for 2019. Again, there's many positives to take from this as well. They've grown the business without having to put much more cost in. For example, there's not a massive increase in marketing spend to grow that top line. And again, that's really positive. Now, one important thing to do here is look at those Q3 figures versus the Q3 expectations we had from the investor presentation. What we can see is they've significantly outperformed those, and so that in itself should ultimately drive an increase in the share price. Now, as a result just of this outperformance in Q3 of 2020, we can assume that this then flows through to 2021, meaning there will be a further increase in revenue versus what we've seen in the investor presentation. Now, when I go into this in more detail, hopefully it'll make more sense. However, what this should mean ultimately is that the valuation for Golden Nugget Online Gaming has grown as well. If you were to value Golden Nugget Online Gaming at a similar revenue multiple to that of DraftKings at the moment, you'd be looking at a share price much closer to $35. Alternatively, you could look at it at a more conservative multiple, similar to that of GAN, for example, and that would then imply a share price of around $25. However, now I'm going to jump into some of the detail. If you're not interested in how I've got to these figures, then feel free to skip to the end of the video, but there are a couple of things I touch on in there that may be interesting. So here we are in Excel, and what I'm hoping to do here is run you through the analysis I've done. If you have any questions though, let me know in the comment section below. Ultimately, what these figures are here, these are the gross gaming revenues monthly for each month in 2020 and in 2019. And these are filed with the New Jersey regulator, and they are filed by Golden Nugget Atlantic City. Now, under New Jersey gambling regulation law, online casinos have to register with one of these physical casinos. So these results include figures for 4 gaming partners. So Golden Nugget Online Casino, Betfair Casino, Play Sugar House, Bet America. So these figures are not solely Golden Nugget, but do include a proportion of Golden Nugget. So what I've done here is analyse, based on the Q3 20 earnings that Golden Nugget filed, what percentage of these gross gaming revenues comes from Golden Nugget, and that comes out to be around 33%. In 2019, it was slightly higher, so conservatively we can use this assumption going forward. Then what I've done, looking at the growth from 2019 to 2020 that we've seen each month this year, carry the average growth rate forward to assume then what the implied gross gaming figures may be for the rest of the year. So this being 31.5, $35.9 and $32.8 million per month in gross gaming revenues. Remember, not all of that attributable to Golden Nugget Online Gaming, only part of that. But using the percentage which was attributable to Golden Nugget for Q3 this year, we can carry that percentage going forward. Now, with these assumptions, i.e. the percentage which is attributable to Golden Nugget and the growth rate on 2019 for 2020, we can forecast that actually perhaps around $34.5 million of that is going to be attributable to Golden Nugget Online Gaming in Q4 2020. Again, that is an outperformance from the investor presentation, and again another positive which, if holds true, should result in an increase in the share price. What this would mean ultimately is roughly around gross gaming revenues of, call it $115 million for Golden Nugget in the entirety of FY 2020. Using the same ratio between net and gross gaming revenues as Golden Nugget delivered in Q3, what that means ultimately is net gaming revenues of around $101.5 million for FY 20. Using the same historical EBITDA margin, that implies an EBITDA being generated for FY 20 of around $31.6 million. Now again, I caveat this with the fact that this is all based on the assumptions in this model. It's impossible to predict the future, and I haven't had any inside conversations with anyone in management to validate my assumptions. So this is purely my assumptions and my analysis. The next step of this analysis is to understand what that means for valuation. So ultimately, given we now have a revised figure for 2020 of overall net gaming revenues based on the outperformance we just went through, we also know what management believed the growth in 2021 was going to be from the investor presentation, growing from $86 million to $122 million. That gives us our 42% growth. Ultimately then applying that 42% growth to our revised restated 2020 performance gives us a new revenue for 2021 of $144 million. Now, using the same multiples for peers, looking at DraftKings at 17.1 times revenue, which it's currently trading at, or for example GAN trading at 12.9 times revenue, we can then see what impact that has on the share price. Using the same items, bridging us from enterprise value to equity value, using the same number of shares outstanding, gives us a share price of, if you believe in DraftKings valuation multiple, which it's currently trading at, that gives you a share price of around $35.20. Alternatively, if you believe more conservatively in GAN's revenue multiple, that gives you a share price of around $26.30. Ultimately, based on this analysis, I do believe there is upside potential for the share price of LCA and Golden Nugget. That being said, this is all on the basis of the assumptions made in this model and is on the reliance of the information that I've got being correct. Now look, obviously there are a number of assumptions that are made to get to those numbers. However, you can't also escape the risks that there are associated with this, not to mention the risk of a market correction, risk of not executing on the strategy in 2021, risk of not being able to enter the new markets which I've outlined. So I'm not saying there aren't any risks associated with this, but if you want more detail on those, then please check out my previous videos where I go into those in more detail. All that being said, currently I do believe the share price should be higher than it currently is, and I do think long-term Golden Nugget Online Gaming remains a really exciting opportunity. For me, this outperformance just further validates management's capability, and ultimately I remain excited by the investment. So look, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please smash the like button. If you're new to the channel and like investor related content, then please subscribe. And as always, let me know any comments you have in the comment section below. If you want me to explain something, if something didn't make sense, if you disagree, please let me know. I love to hear your opinions. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.